Because the truth is, the current EPBC Act isn't working for everyone. In fact, it's working for no one. It fails to provide real protection for our environment, and it offers little certainty for industry. Instead of addressing that failure, this government has decided to double down with a bill that makes it painfully clear whose side they're on, and it sure isn't the environment's. The so-called Reconsiderations Bill will shut down the reconsideration process currently underway into salmon farming in Macquarie Harbour. It effectively pulls the plug on efforts to protect the critically endangered Maugean skate. More broadly, it risks silencing communities across the country by restricting their abilities to seek reviews when environmental threats emerge. Let's be clear. This is not a small procedural tweak. This is a calculated rollback of public oversight, one that could leave entire ecosystems unprotected if species species that were once considered secure become threatened over time. It removes the Environment Minister's power to intervene when the facts change, because apparently, for this government, evidence-based decision-making is too inconvenient. These changes didn't arise from some sweeping public mandate or scientific consensus. They were driven by an ongoing conflict between business interests of salmon farming giants in Macquarie Harbour and the survival of a species found only in those waters. On the very same day this bill was announced, March 20th, Huon Aquaculture, a Tasmanian salmon farming company, had its RSPCA animal welfare certification revoked. You may be asking why. Because employees were caught on camera sealing live salmon in crates alongside dead ones. These are the supposedly good guys in this story. This bill is a direct intervention in an active reconsideration process about the risk salmon farming poses to the Maugean skate. And let's not pretend this is just the Environment Minister's doing. The Prime Minister himself, who seems to have quietly assumed the role of de facto Environment Minister after sidelining Minister Plibersek, has once again overridden sound judgment with political opportunism. And it's not just me saying this. Let me remind the Chamber of what Senator Grogan said just last month when the Coalition tried to pull the same stunt. She called the reconsideration mechanism, and I quote, an important safeguard in our environmental decision-making. She then continued saying, limiting reconsideration requests beyond 3 years and limiting who can make them is highly problematic. You're turning it into an entirely political situation as opposed to a scientific, factual one, end quote. That was just 1 month ago. 1 month. Would Senator Grogan repeat those words now? Would any Labor senator repeat those words? I highly doubt it. This isn't an isolated case. We're watching a disturbing pattern emerge. Labor continues to endorse coalition policy, not out of conviction, but out of fear of losing political advantage. We saw it with the passage of the mandatory sentencing laws, legislation that flew in the face of Labor's own platform. We saw it again with the migration bills. So callous, so dehumanising, that even the Coalition's shadow immigration minister remarked they were basically running immigration system from opposition. At what point will the Labor government's paper-thin principles give way to real moral clarity? Or is that only possible if they're dragged to it, kicking and screaming by the political necessity of minority government, which now looks increasingly likely to be the result of the upcoming May election? This chamber could be doing real work. We could be passing the free TAFE bill. We could be legislating the long overdue 20% cut to HECS help debts. We could be fixing the EPBC Act in a way that protects the environment for the generations to come. But instead, here we are, debating a bill that actively undermines those goals. And the timing? It's no coincidence. With the budget freshly phlebotomised and the public attention elsewhere, this bill has been quietly ushered in, slipped through while no one is watching. This bill is not just a threat to the Maugean skate, it is a threat to biodiversity, habitats, and our already fragile ecosystems across Australia. It is the wrong decision, and it will go down as yet another black mark on the Albanese government's environmental record, a record marked by hesitation, capitulation, and political cowardice.